Hello, in this tutorial we're going to be talking about the basics of coding pretty much, and I'm just going to be explaining everything. And this particular video I'm going to talk about variables. And so first things first, we need to know what a variable is. So just like in math where a variable it hides a number, this is basically the same thing except it can hold a sentence of text. It's also called a string. You can hold you can hold complex things like dates or a movie clip or um, just it can hold just about anything. It's basically a container which you assign a name and which you put a value. So the value could be anything, like I just said. So first things first, we're gonna declare a variable. So first, we're gonna create a new ActionScript 3.0. Just oops, and let it create it. Any day now. And then once we created it, we're going to go down to the first layer and select actions. And then once we did that, we're just going to do a simple code, and it's just going to be var, which means variable. It's just smaller. And then we're just going to type message and then semicolon. And then what that basically does is the variable equals the message. That's the variable's name. And it has no value yet. It just knows what it's called. So first, when you name a variable, like I could call it anything. I could call it like hey, but see, whatever I type, it just turns into a variable. But what you want to do is you want to make it something that's easier in code. So say it's a ball, you want to call it ball. You don't want to call it something like random. You want to call it what makes sense to you, because like I said, it can hold anything. So you can just type whatever you want it to call. And then so next we're going to give the variable message, we're going to give it a value. And so we're going to go to the next row. We're going to go message equals, and then quotation marks, hello. And what that just told it, and you have to put semicolons after every line. If you didn't already know that, it just tells the computer the line's done, move on to the next one. And so what we just did there is we made the variable, and then we made the variable. The variable is it says hello. That's what the variable contains. And so now that we have that, we got to give value. So we have to, now it knows it's hello, we have to tell it to do something now, because if you just like rendered it right now doing command enter, it just does nothing. So now we want to type trace, which is going to trace it onto the screen, so it's going to make it say it, and then we're just going to do message, which is the variable name. And then as you can see right here, whenever you type code, typically it'll bring up this little yellow box. It'll tell you what it means, like how to do it so it doesn't get an error. So the trace, and then inside you want to do the parameters, and that's going to be message, which is the variable. And then finish that off with a semicolon, and then if you do command enter, you can see now it just pasted it. It said hello. So now it defined what the variable is, and then it told the computer what to do with that variable. Next, we can add even more. So now we can just add a new message. We can just, and then equals quotation marks, how are you? And then finish it off again, and then semicolon. And then you want to trace. If we didn't trace it, you just hit it, it would just say hello again. but we have to tell the computer, oh, there's a new one, trace this one now. So now we do trace message, oops, and then finish it off. And now it's like, okay, there's another message, now let's trace that one too. And then you do that, and now it comes up with 2. So now it's telling the computer what to do. Next we are I'm going to show you how to deal with errors. So let's just say trace, and you don't have to do this. I'm going to show you what happens when you error. So say you just do 42. It's not going to know what's going on. See, it'll still say what's beginning, but when it gets to that code, you can see right here, as it says scene 1, layer 1, which is it's our layer what the actions are on, frame 1, which is, see, this is the frame 1, and then it says line 6. So then we go down here, it says line 6, and it says function value used where type void was expected. So now it's just saying what's happening. I don't get what's going on. So that's how you use the error system. If you just like double click on it too, it'll highlight it. And so that will just tell you what's wrong. So if you're having problems, always look at the compiler errors, and that will tell you pretty much where the error is and what's wrong with it. So thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope I tried to explain myself, and so see you later.